Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 35th and potentially the final episode of the chess this week. It's been a while, and I had to take a long break from doing the chess this week because things had been busy, especially due to the Global Chess League, which took place in Dubai in June 2023, and what a tournament it was. Long story short, this was won by the Triveni Continental Kings, led by Levon Aronian, and my team, the Upgrad Mumba Masters, finished in the second place. That was a fun tournament, but cutting back to the present, the Women's World Championship match. Now, this is the headline of the chess this week. This week, the Women's World Championship match is being fought by Ju Wenger, the reigning world champion, and her challenger, Lei Tingji. And at the end of halfway, this was led by Lei Tingji, 3.5, 2.5. And in the second half, they moved to a new city. They had a 2-day break. And at the resumption, things seem to have changed a bit as Ju Wenger was better for most part of the 7th game. Although this has also ended in a draw. Now we have 5 more games to come, and this is going to be an exciting contest. If you're following chess, this should be the one you should follow first thing in the day, especially because it starts in China, and that starts before most other events. And moving forward, the Champion Chess Tour. Of course, the Champion Chess Tour has been one of the major tournaments in the chess calendar. And one thing which has been a constant is that Magnus Carlsen wins it almost every time he plays it. Now, a few times Hikaru did manage to challenge Magnus, but this time Hikaru was not even part of the contest, which means Magnus had a free run, not before being challenged by the Uzbek phenom Nuribek Abdusaturo. However, Magnus made it look easy with a 2.5, 0.5 win over Nuribek in the winners bracket final, and then in the losers bracket, Nuribek lost against Wesley So. After scintillating win against Levon Aronian, it looked like Nuribek was unstoppable until he met Magnus, and even the Catalan couldn't save Nuribek. But Wesley So defeated Nuribek in the losers final and then set up a 4-game match against Magnus Carlsen. And Magnus Carlsen, being a world champion, former world champion, and being true to someone who's the best player in the world, a fast learner, unleashed Catalan in the first game of the grand final, and from then on it became a no contest. Magnus winning the grand final 3-1 and winning the Division 1 of the AIM chess leg of the Champion Chess Tour. Now, this was a story of Division 1. In the Division 2, something incredibly bizarre and rare happened. Now, this was a story between Denis Lazovic and Samuel Sevian, and these two players made an incredible 13 draws in a row. It was crazy. It was something unheard of and unseen before. But in the end, it was Denis Lazovic who prevailed and who secures his spot in the Division 1 of the next leg of the Champion Chess Tour. He managed to draw with the black pieces in the Armageddon, and thanks to this, he manages to sail through to the Division 1, being the winner of the Division 2 of this Champion Chess Tour. And in Division 3, now this was won by the Chinese Grandmaster Yu Yangyi after a pretty close match against the Vietnamese Grandmaster Lei Tuan Min, who is also known as Wonderful Time on chess.com. Now, this was also a pretty close match in the grand final especially, and Grandmaster Yu Yangyi, rated above 2700, is the winner of Division 3, while Denis Lazovic, who is not even 2600 in classical rating, is the winner of Division 2. That's how brilliant the Champion Chess Tour has been in terms of being accessible to players of not 2700 levels. And special mention in the Division 3 bracket to Laurent Fressinet, who managed to defeat his former boss, Vladimir Kramnik, before losing eventually to Li Kuagli. Now, moving on to the over-the-board classical format, the tournament in Hungary, the Giza Hetenli Memorial Tournament. And this is featured and headlined by Pragg's amazing 4 out of 4 run. Although he was stopped today by Amin Tabatabai, and Amin caught up with Pragg with this win, and they both are in the lead with 4 out of 5 at the end of 5 rounds in a tournament which has been spectacular in the number of decisive games so far and the fighting games. It looks like Pragg took off from right where he left in the Global Chess League, where he was the king of the tournament with an amazing 8.5 out of 10 performance, and with this 4-win streak, Pragg also manages to cross the 2700 barrier, which has been kind of troubling Pragg for a while. He kept coming close to 2700, losing for 2-3 times. He finally manages to break it. Although I wouldn't go gung-ho in congratulating Pragg for this one, because 2700 just feels like something on the way for him, So congratulations to Pragg, but I'm not going overboard either. And moving on to the Turkish League. Now, Turkish League is a team tournament where Turkish Airlines is the overwhelming strong team. They have players like Vidit, Gukesh, Vaishali, and they're basically going to win this event. There's no contest. But in terms of the individual performance of the Indian chess players, we have Gukesh, who has +2. He has scored 3.5 out of 5. He drew his first 3 games. He won his 4th round game. And today he played in the junior board and won his game. Vidit Gujarati, who's been simply amazing. He started with 3 out of 3. He made a couple of draws with the black pieces. Vidit always seems to be on a winning spree right after he plays a tournament where captain of his team. It happened last year after the Olympiad with the ECC. Turkish League this time. Somehow, that magic seems to work. It seems to work in lag. Maybe it's a Nashik thing. And we also have Nihal Sari, who hasn't had the best of tournaments so far. He's lost about 6 rating points. It's been a solid performance. He has a +1. 3.5 out of 6, including a win in the junior board, but nothing special. Leon Mendonca also with 2.5 out of 6. So far not having a great tournament, although he still has one of his career high ratings going. And also special mention to Nihal, who just turned 19 the previous week. So this is Turkish League, and there is a tournament also going on in Astana right now. And after 7 rounds, this is being led by Aditya Mittal with 6 out of 7. Now, this tournament also features the likes of Hans Niemann, who has only 5 out of 7, 1 point behind the leader. And from India, it's Aditya Mittal at 6, Setu with 4.5 out of 7, and Divya Deshmukh at 3.5 out of 7. So this is Astana. Moving from Kazakhstan to Spain, now the Benasc tournament in Catalonia, it just concluded, and this was won by the Chinese Grandmaster Bu Jianxi. Amongst Indians, Abhimanyu Puranik finished in the 5th place, and Praneeth Uppala finished 12th. GN Gopal finished in the 10th place, and Raunak Sadhwani finished 13th, and Harshit Raja finished 20th. Lalit Babu finished in the 19th place. A lot of Indians played in Benasc. So this is the story of some of the prominent opens. There has been so many federated opens in Europe, and it's kind of impossible to keep track of every single tournament out there. Even if we classify it to only those featuring Indians, even then it's an incredible number. So these are the prominent opens in Europe this week. Now let's move on to the FIDE segment, the FIDE circuit, and at the moment, at this week, it's being led by the supreme leader Anish Giri. Although Gukesh has only a few decimal points below Anish, and Fabiano has played 1 less tournament than both of them. So this is quite dynamic and can change. The World Cup is coming up, so those who cross the 3rd round will have their performance counted for the FIDE circuit. And there are also other tournaments coming up. It's only the 7th month of this year. It goes on till December, and players can still keep improving on their lowest performance in the top 5 of the tournaments counted for the FIDE circuit. So a long way to go, but at the moment it's Anish in the lead, Gukesh pursuing closely behind, and Fabi having the best average. Now, a few amazing performances from the past weeks when the Chess This Week was not done. Special mention should go to Magnus Carlsen in the Super United Rapid and Blitz in Croatia. Now, Magnus was just crazy amazing. He won 9 out of 9 Blitz games in the Blitz segment of this tournament, consisting of 18 rounds. In the first half, he just 9 out of 9 is indescribable. And Gukesh finished in the 5th place, the 2 of the top wildcard performers. And Vishay Anand had a pretty good start to the tournament, our 5-time world champion, the legend. But towards the end, he lost more games than he won, so he ended up in the 8th place after a pretty good performance in the Global Chess League. And again, it's important to mention the national championship, which also took place in the previous week, the Women National Championship. Now, this was won by Padmini Raut. She managed to thwart the challenge of Divya Deshmukh, who was gunning for her hat trick of National Women's title. In the last round, it was between them, and Padmini managed to defeat Divya. So Padmini wins the national championship. Mary finishes in the second place, and Arpita finishes in the third place. And upcoming tournaments. Now, one of the most exciting tournaments coming up this/next week is the Beal Triathlon. This will feature Rapid, Blitz, and Classical. And these are the players who are playing in the Beal Triathlon. Yu Yangi, the winner of the Division 3 of CCT, Lee Kwang Lien, Arjun Erigaisi, then Deek Bogdan Daniel, Vincent Thiemer, the German wonderkid, Amin Bassam, Africa's strongest, David Navara, and Jules Mossad. So this is the Beal Triathlon field, which is going to be one of the exciting tournaments next week. Now that's this episode of the Chess This Week. If you like this video, then do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and see you all hopefully sooner than the interval between this episode and the previous one.